And I believe we are live streaming now on YouTube. Hi, everyone. This is Mek, VP of Quality, and this is the Quality Department Key Review for July calendar year 2021. We have prepped a recording on the summary for both our KPIs and OKRs. With that, we will dive directly into questions. I have the first item, which is number 5. I'm currently looking for feedback. We demoted pipeline duration to a PI. This is part of our effort to refine our efforts and to lower the number of KPIs overall. I just want to give a heads up to our stakeholders that the duration is now a regular PI, and that's okay to proceed or continue. I would take that as a no concern, and we can come back to that later. In 5B, we're also proposing to level up Akma. This is in the same philosophy of measuring only open things, and pair this with RA. Akma measures the open community merge request age, and it will incentivize us to close out all community contributions, merge requests that are currently opened.
I think that's a good change, Rack. Nice idea.
Yeah, love it.
Thank you. With that, Sid number 6.
Yeah, I love the new focus on time to first failure. That doesn't quite work. What's the first iteration? Like if I had to think about it without any context, I'd say spin up an extra job on every MR on GitLab and then run the failed R spec tests that failed in the previous last job. But I wonder what your idea is.
Thank you. And we have VRIs now. I'll pass this on to Kyle later. I believe the current iteration is to finish off the dynamic test mapping. Then we will move on to the next one, which is a more concrete set of tests. Kyle, do you want to take this one on and give us an overview?
Yeah, we're doing a small iteration of dynamic test mapping, like we talked about in the last key review, where prior to approval, we'll just run the tests we've identified. But the next iteration is exactly what you suggested. We have that planned for 14.2. I'll link to the issue here.
Cool. What is dynamic test mapping again?
It's where we use Crystal Ball to identify the specs that are related to the files that were changed within an MR. So we rerun a significantly less number of tests ahead of approval.
Cool. Is that an industry term or something we made up?
I think it's an industry term. Like I think that's how Crystal Ball, the gem that we're using, describes itself. But I can look into it and get back.
No need to look into it. Thanks.
And to be really clear, the Crystal Ball feature, dynamic test mapping, is a feature we have in the testing group. So we are moving dogfooding levers there. If that has come to a diminishing returns, we will move forward with a different approach for Kyle.
No, love. You read my mind, Meg. That would dogfooding is the second word out of my mouth. So thank you.
And one thing I would add for the spinning up the extra job, we're using APIs that the testing group had specifically built for this iteration too. So kind of dogfooding the product in that facet too.
Using APIs is not dogfooding, but I love what you're doing.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks, Kyle. We'll lean on you for the next update as well. Great work. Eric, you have number 7 for Murar.
Yeah, one of the bullets under MAR was we did a hackathon, presumably in conjunction with the community relations team. It didn't work or didn't have the desired effect. And it mentioned seasonality. So it's unclear do we just shift the hackathon to a different time of year, presumably to avoid summer in Europe? Or is it some problem with the hackathon or both?
Yeah, this is something we're still looking deeper. I am for moving the hackathon and make it more in conjunction with the momentum here, we try to give our customer liaisons, our TAMs, an early heads up on the hackathon to broadcast. My feel is that the issues in the hackathon isn't really moving enterprise readiness that the Mirar contributors are looking for. The contributions from the hackathon are mostly smaller changes where coming from Mirar or our customers, they're looking to shore up enterprise grade readiness. And there may be more of a content that we can include more in the hackathons and an earlier heads up with the TAMs to give, say, someone, our customers a bigger heads up. That's my current view. But happy to provide, capture feedback and move forward.
Yeah, I see the seasonality trend maybe. Like I wouldn't say it's definitely causal right now, but I see the correlation, like this rise in spring and then the dip. And then we see, with effort, we put a lot of juice into MAR and we saw this big rise, and now we're disheartened that it went back down. But should we be comparing this season's trend over the previous season's trend? Or is this just happenstance? And no, we should really be hoping this goes up and to the right, kind of more linear here.
I think it's half and half. I think there's some seasonality to it. Kyle, Tana, do you have any feedback from your observation? I believe we observed it, but we don't have a concrete evidence that it is seasonal, meaning are people really busy? More of an observation.
I don't have any feedback beyond just that general seasonality comment.
I think it's hard to know without tracking it over another year to see if we see this again with the increased eyes on it that we have. Okay,
well, we should just keep doing all the good things we think can drive up more, because waiting a year is obviously hard to do. But something we could do that we tried with, we had similar sort of puzzling questions about SUS, and then we decided, well, let's just ask the people if they felt the usability got worse or not. We got some interesting answers back from that. So we might think about, as we're engaging with the community, do we have surveys? Do we have programmatic ways to just say, hey, what do you think is going on here? Or are you all on vacation in the summer? And then we can get like a trailing indication rather than waiting to see a seasonal trend emerge over, enormously long time spans.
That really resonates, Eric. I'm for not waiting. I think that's really against our value. So I think we'll have an issue to have a survey on the MAR contributors and ask the questions outright. How do they feel and how we can improve there? Does that sound like a good iteration?
Yeah, and I think like what Tanya said isn't wrong. I think it's just if we could be in a position where we develop a firm opinion or sense of it, and we could forecast a seasonal dip ahead, and then it's like, yeah, we're onto something. But then we know we can still do tons of stuff without waiting.
Another observation I see is there's a lot of conversations around offices calling people back to work, and there's some friction in the industry. I'm not sure if that also adds to some of that, but we need a survey to really be sure of the dip, and we'll take action on that.
Cool. So I think you've got the next one.
Yeah, thanks for RAR. That seems increasing. That seems to be the important and tough. Is there a legal education thing that needs to happen? Are companies reluctant to contribute because they need sign off from their internal legal team? That's just wild speculation. I have no indications for that, but I'm asking. Is that something that's holding people back?
I believe this topic has come up with our daily stand-up with the community relations team. Kyle, you're nodding. Any color would be helpful here. I'm not as close to this topic as you are or the team.
Yes, it has come up. I think it actually came up with TAMs when we talked, when Tanya and I talked last year as well. Part of that was where we were going to look to the playbook and kind of say, here's how we've made legal inroads at other customers to enable contributions. Here's how you can talk to people who want to contribute but have those same hurdles. Here's how TAMs can have those discussions with potential contributors, I should say.
Great. Should we maybe have a page kind of written by lawyers for lawyers on the other side, where they talk about, hey, this is these are the benefits. These are how we address drawbacks, things like that. There's no patent clause on the MIT license, things like that.
That's a great idea.
Great suggestion.
Yeah, I've heard some conversations on licensing and the clarity there to sit. So I think having that front and center for the GMRA contributions is a great idea. We'll action on that as well.
It's kind of like how when you're running a conference, like a customer conference, in the materials about the conference, you write a letter that someone who wants to attend gives to their manager for justification. Like you literally draft that for them and you put it in your marketing materials, and it's surprisingly handy. So similar sort of tone there. On the same theme though, Mech, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also looking at GitLab certifications, which is on the same theme, right? Not so much the legal aspect, but helping contributors.
Yes, thank you for the plug there. It's been our extra credit this quarter because we don't have time dedicated to it. The current overall effort is around 22% for certifications. We do think we can make additional inroads here where it's tied to a benefit, a value that we give out to our customers. The current challenge with the certification program is it has to be a well-defined journey. Whereas right now, the contribution process is more of a asking for help and a choose your own adventure. To come up with a really concrete program, it's defining the curriculums, having rinse repeat tasks that are consistent, and then like an EdCast lessons that are 2 or 3 minutes long that they can watch. And those are the things that we look to deliver as well to help with this effort.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, Eric, that was a great way to describe it. The letter page from a conference. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I think I have. Oh, the other suggestion is under 8B. Maybe I'll move that to a new one.
We have a MRA Awards issue. We just didn't have time to have people work on this, but yes, you read our thoughts exactly. There has to be some sort of award that we need to do here. We can cross-link. If you'd like to vocalize point 9.
Yeah, I'll vocalize it for the benefit of people watching it, but glad you're already ahead. But give companies awards for kind of being contributors to GitLab. I think a lot of companies are struggling with hiring engineers. I think it's a very healthy sign if people who work at you can contribute to open source projects, and we can highlight them. Like these people have done the most MRs, or this is like, I don't know, rookie of the quarter or something like that, and augment it with interviews with contributors, but also interviews with managers like, hey, why do you let your people contribute to open source so that they can showcase themselves? So we reach a lot of developers, give these companies that are contributing a lot, like Siemens, a platform to spread their message, and then hopefully that will entice other companies to say, okay, we're also going to do this.
Thank you for the guidance, Sid. That makes sense.
Yeah, great that you were already on it.
We're 14 minutes in, and at the end of the agenda, is there any other topics our stakeholders would like to know? Cool. That's a good amount of awkward silence. Thank you very much for your participation. I will see you in the next 8 weeks for your guidance again, and then see you next time.
Thanks, Mike.